Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Temple Emeth and to our Shabbat Evening Service. We are offering the service both in person and on live stream here in the Rabbi Louis J. Siegel Sanctuary of Temple Emeth in Teaneck, New Jersey. If you are here joining us in the congregation, I invite you to find a copy of Mishkan Tefillah. It should be near your seat. And if you are watching us on live stream this evening, I invite you to find a copy of Mishkan Tefillah as well. Perhaps you already have a copy in your home. Now is the perfect time to bring it to your computer or your screen. If you don't have a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, then you can access one by going, preferably on a second device, to our live stream website at emeth.org/livestream. Scroll down just a bit to where it says to access the Siddur prayer book. And then you will click on the option for Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat weekdays and festivals. That will open up the Siddur in flipbook format, and you'll be able to follow along with all the same songs and prayers and pages as we have here in the sanctuary. Also, if you're watching on live stream, I encourage you right now to take a moment to post your name and a Shabbat greeting in the chat or comment section of the live stream platform. That helps us know who is watching and who, by extension, is part of our virtual community that we are creating this evening via technology. I would like to welcome those of you who are here in person in the sanctuary. It's a work in progress getting folks to come back, but it is nice to have you, and especially those of you who are here to accept honors, or if you are marking the life cycle of Shloshim or Yard Site, we welcome you especially also into the sanctuary as we begin our worship together. The first part of our service is found on page 120 of the Siddur. We begin our service with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, and for the honor of candle lighting, we call upon Pauline Hecht.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue now with our Friday night Kiddush, which is found on page 123, preceded by an opening reading. We call upon Gail Turner to lead us in the Kiddush, and I ask everyone to please rise. No, sorry, wrong side.
Yeah, that's what.
All right, you are right there.
As evening falls, we give thanks for the blessings of the past week, for life and strength, for work and rest, for home, love, and community. As we enjoy this bounty, may we be inspired to bring goodness into the lives of others. We raise a cup of wine in gratitude for the miracle of creation and for the gift of this day of rest. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Asher kitchanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsha be'aval v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reshit ki hu yom techilo l'migrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta leotanu kitashta mikol ha'anim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchalatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadosh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Do I take?
Please be seated. We turn now in our Siddur to page 127. We read responsibly in English. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Our opening song is found on page 130. Please join with Cantor Tillum as together we join in singing L'chu Niranana.
L'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'tzoi yishenu nekod mafanav b'toda. Naria, naria, l'tzoi yishenu b'zbirot naria lo. L'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai. L'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai. L'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai. L'chu niranena, l'chu niranena, l'chu niranena l'Adonai.
We turn now to page 143. We read together these words from the book of Genesis. And Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. Coming upon a certain place, he passed the night there, for the sun was setting. Taking one of the stones of the place, he made it his headrest as he lay down in that place. He dreamed, and lo, a ladder was set on the ground with its top reaching to heaven. And lo, angels of God going up and coming down on it. And lo, Adonai stood up above it and said, I, Adonai, am the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land on which you are lying I will give to you and to your descendants. And your descendants shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread out to the west and the east and the north and the south. Through you and your descendants all the families of the earth shall find blessing. And here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this soil. I will not let go of you as long as I have yet to do what I have promised you. Waking from his sleep, Jacob said, Truly Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it. He was awestruck and said, How awe-inspiring is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועמד יברח פירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לעולם ועולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קדושה בריחו להאמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach sha'arim u'bitvuna mishanei itim u'machalif et hazmanim u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla u'mavdil bein yom u'bein layla Adonai Tzvaot Shemo. El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. We turn now to page 154, and we join together in the Ve'ahavta, the English translation found in the middle of the page. Please read with me. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus shall you remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We turn now to page 157 as we read together at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue on page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporesh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael, Vishamru et HaShabbat, Asot et HaShabbat,
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue now on page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Adonai, sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagipor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Komel Chasadim, Tovim v'Kanei, Akol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imot, U'mevi Gula Livnei v'Neihem, Leman Shemo be'avah, Melech Ozer V'Shel Magen, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei akol letachrav le'oshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei akol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umikayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gvurot, Umidom halach, Melech meimit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yehlelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We turn now in our Siddurim to page 174. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato l'tzion. We turn now to page 179 as we join together in offering a prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, ba shalom. We take a moment now for Tfilat Halev, the opportunity to offer to God the prayer of our hearts. Inspirational readings are found at this time on pages 180 and 181. Our service continues now with our service for the reading of the Torah, Seder Kriyat Torah, found in your Siddur beginning on page 363. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. We continue in the middle of the next page. Please rise. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uniram Mima Shema Yachdav, Lecha Adonai HaGedila, Yagivara, Yativarat, Yanetzachad, Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai HaMelech, Yamei Osei Chol Derash.
Please be seated. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Noach, and it tells two stories of God's disappointment with humanity. There's the story of Noah, which takes up the majority of the portion, and God is distressed at the corruption on earth, and so God sends the flood. The section that I'm going to read from is Genesis chapter 11, toward the end of the parasha, where God goes down and sees the building of the city of Babel and the Tower of Babel, and God is again distressed at the behavior of human beings. This time the destruction is not quite as widespread in the sense that the tower is no more, but the people seem to be okay, except they start speaking different languages. This confounding of their languages meant to make them a little less powerful and a little more humble in their aspirations. So you can follow along as I read from Parashat Noach, Genesis chapter 11, beginning with verse 1. If you are here in the sanctuary, then you can turn in the Torah commentary books to page 80. And if you are watching on live stream and you have a copy of the revised Torah commentary at home, you will find this same portion on page 69. The Aliyah today goes to Marilyn Shapiro. Just a second. Let's see. Move that and move that. I'll put that right there. And you're going to keep your mask on, but hey, direct your voice right there to the microphone and put your hand right. That's it. Okay, we're ready.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam, Asher bocha banu b'kol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayehi chol haaretz safa achat udvarim achadim. Vayehi benos am mikedem. Vayimtzeu vik'a be'eretz shinar vayeshvu sham. Vayomru ish el re'ehu. Hava nilvana levenim v'nisrefa lisrefa. Vatehi lahem halvana la'aven v'hachemar haya lahem lachomer. Vayomru hava nivne lanu ir umigdal v'rosho b'shamayim v'na'aseh lanu shem penafutz al penei chol haaretz. Vayered Adonai lirot et ha'ir ve'et hamigdal asher banu v'nei ha'adam. Vayomer Adonai hen am echad v'safa achat lechulam v'zeh hachilam la'asot. Ve'ata lo yivatzer mehem kol asher yazmu la'asot. Hava nerda v'nivla sham svatam asher lo yishmeu ish safat re'ehu. Vayafetz Adonai otam misham al penei kol haaretz vayachdalu livnot ha'ir al kain kira shema Babel. Ki sham balal Adonai sifat kol haaretz umisham hefitzam Adonai al penei kol haaretz.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natad b'cholchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashikach, you can have a seat. This time our service continues with a prayer for healing, which is found in your Siddur on page 371. If you are watching on live stream and you'd like to share the name of someone you are thinking of in need of healing in the chat or live stream section of the live stream platform, I invite you to do so at this time. If you are here in the sanctuary and you're thinking of someone in need of healing, I invite you to share their name out loud or in your heart. Those here in the sanctuary, I invite you to direct your attention to the screen in the corner, which will show the names of those we pray for as a congregation, as we continue now on page 371 with the Mishaberach.
Those in need of healing with
We continue now with Hagba and Galila. Please rise if you are able for the lifting and dressing of the Torah, found at the bottom of page 370. We remain standing as we turn now to page 374 as we prepare to return the Torah to the Ark. Yehalalu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado. Please be seated. In the book of Jonah, the non-Israelite king of Nineveh is somewhat of a hero. He receives the news that Jonah, a prophet hitherto unknown to him, has declared that the city will be overturned in 3 days, and he acts. He begins the ritual of atonement and commands his subjects to do the same. Through fasting and penitence, the disaster looming over Nineveh is averted, and it begins because the king heeds unwelcome news. The Bible does not say who brings this news to the king or whether he was reluctant to do so. It doesn't say whether the monarch frequently received reports from around the kingdom or whether this was unique because of the threat posed to the people. We do know that at least some of the people know this news because they witnessed Jonah's proclamation and told their friends and family. Even if the king had not wanted to hear this news, neither could he wish it away. In this case, however, the leader welcomes the challenge and seizes the moment to lead. All political leaders are at odds with the news media from time to time. Sometimes it is because they highlight an aspect of their government that is embarrassing or scandalous. Sometimes it is because they report on a problem that the leader would rather ignore. Early on in the history of the United States, the framers enshrined freedom of the press in the First Amendment of the Constitution. In doing so, they codified the connection between the free exchange of ideas and democracy. By 1791, when the amendment was ratified, America already had a robust and independent press. They knew that when leaders control the narrative, the system begins to slide toward autocracy. Even though an independent press is inconvenient for politicians, it is healthy for democracy. A lot has changed since 1791, like the telegraph, radio, television, and the internet. With each media revolution, more voices were amplified and more concerns could be aired. But the premise remains the same, that a free, independent press is essential to good government. Today, the Nobel Peace Prize went to two individuals who advanced this goal under the most difficult of circumstances. Maria Ressa of the Philippines and Dmitry Muratov of Russia. Ressa is the co-founder of Rappler and reports on the drug wars in the Philippines and the excesses that President Rodrigo Duterte has used. She's reported on the killings and the sham trials of the president's enemies on trumped-up charges. And now she is one of them. Because of her work, she has been served with 10 arrest warrants in the past year and has had her travel limited 4 times. She describes it as harassment and observes that it is a growing trend against journalists around the world. Muratov co-founded Novaya Gazeta, the only truly critical newspaper with national influence in Russia today. Trying to hold President Vladimir Putin accountable for his human rights abuses and high-level political corruption. Muratov knows full well the danger he faces in doing this work. 6 journalists at his paper have been killed. These recipients, though not Jewish, highlight 2 fundamental values of the Torah. The first, as I described over the High Holy Days, is truth. Journalism is not synonymous with truth-telling, of course, but a free press brings us closer to the truth than any other institution. Truth is a value in its own right, as the name of our temple attests, and it is also one of 3 core values in Pirkei Avot, along with justice and peace. In announcing this year's recipients, the Nobel spokeswoman said, "Freedom of expression is a precondition for democracy and lasting peace." As Jews, we have benefited in myriad ways from the freedom of expression granted to us in this country. It has allowed us to express our religious, social, and political beliefs without fear of retribution from the government, and has therefore made this the most peaceful place that we have ever lived. But there is no reason this freedom and this blessing should not extend to every part of the world. That is why I say Mazel Tov to Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov, and to the Norwegian Nobel Committee for selecting them. The king of Nineveh is extraordinary for his righteous response to news that many other leaders would choose to ignore. We cannot expect every leader to receive bad news in the way the king of Nineveh did. But we ought to expect that journalists have a basic standard of protection and respect, for they often tell the stories that truly impact our lives. The role they play in democracy and justice must always be allowed to thrive. Shabbat Shalom. Our service continues now with the Aleinu, which is found in the Siddur on page 586 at the bottom of the page. Please rise if you are able for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gdula l'yotzeh mereshit, shelo asaynu k'goyei haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samech Elokeinu kahem, v'gar aleinu k'chol amanam, v'anachnu koreim u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malachei hamalachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
We remain standing for a reading to introduce the mourner's Kaddish found in the Siddur on page 595. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. This Shabbat, we remember those for whom we are in the Shloshim, 30-day period of mourning. Mark Klausner, a member of Temple Emeth and cousin of Susan Klausner. Lucy Brody, a member of Temple Emeth. We remember as well those whose yahrzeits occurred this week. Lydia Adler, Samuel Becker, Joyce Rosenberg Becker, Naomi Berman, Alvin Breslow, Saul Bresnick, Sidney Broder, Lenore Bernstein Cohen, Nathan Deutsch, Edith Siegel-Dickstein, Richard Fisher, Irma Goldberg Klein, Bessie Goodman, Isidore Hackman, Sarah Hirsch, Max Hirschfelder, Joseph, Amelia Kahn, Peter Kelly, Sam Kessler, Maurice Crivet, Michael H. Lieb, John T. Lupatin, Jesse Miller, Alexis Melanie Moros, Saul Paul, Lillian Podolsky, Jeanette Rellis, Louis Roth, Joseph Sanders, Faye Staffen, Moses Sulzer, Elise Wasserman, Martin Wieselberg, David Weissman, Morris Weiss, Mark Weinberg, and Sylvia Zuckerman. We remember the names of 6 of the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust: Vera Spivak of the Soviet Union, age 70, Yosef Solovyov of the Soviet Union, age 41, Boris Fuchs of the Soviet Union, age 32, Leonid Fuchs of the Soviet Union, age 36, Chava Smolyar of the Soviet Union, age 44, and Yakov Stern of the Soviet Union, age 63. We remember a member of our community who died recently and will be buried after Shabbat, Rita Hantman, a member of Temple Emeth and wife of Peter Hantman. And as we acknowledge the importance of journalism to democracy and lasting peace with today's announcement of the Nobel Peace Prize, we remember all of those journalists killed for their work in attempting to bring us the truth and these stories. We remember them all. We turn Now to page 598 as we join together in the life-affirming words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'yisman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivorach leolam ulalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudsha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. It is my pleasure at this time to call upon Bob Kahn, a member of our Board of Trustees, to offer Shabbat greetings and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat shalom.
Just to Bob Kahn height for the microphone.
Okay. Hello, Shabbat shalom, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat Evening Service. Our mini university begins Tuesday, October 12th on Zoom. At 7:30 p.m., we'll have our peer-led class, Stories from a Jewish Perspective. Temple member Michael Goldberg will lead a discussion of Alicia by Ruth Calderon. This story was chosen as part of our One Book, One Synagogue program. Then at 8:40 p.m., bring your recent copy of the Jewish Standard to the computer as Rabbi Serbiu leads Cover Story, a discussion of this week's news from the Jewish world. The Zoom link for both classes is included in your weekly email. The Temple's annual cleanup of Windsor Park, right across Windsor Road from us, will take place on Sunday, October 17th. Children accompanied by adults are welcome to participate. No need to register, just meet the Social Action Committee in front of the synagogue at 10:30 a.m. On Sunday morning, October 24th, come to the Temple for a morning of adult learning. At 9 a.m., Maura Dora will lead a parent education session based on our new L'Chaim Hebrew for Life curriculum. At 10 a.m., Rabbi Serbiu will teach the first of his 3 sessions on the seasons of the Jewish year. You're invited to join the Social Action Committee and the Temple members who traveled to Alabama in 2019 for an event on Sunday, October 24th at 3 p.m. in Eatontown, New Jersey. At that time, the New Jersey Social Justice Remembrance Coalition, of which Rabbi Serbiu is a member, will be collecting soil from the site of New Jersey's only documented lynching in 1886. Temple member Lynn Shakin will be arranging carpools. Look for a special email next week with details. Finally, donations are still being accepted for our annual bazaar, which will be held this year on Sunday, December 12th. New and gently used items can be brought in for donation anytime during regular office hours. Thank you to this evening's volunteers in the live stream control room. Gail Goldberg, Michael Goldberg, and Amanda Eastman are at the controls tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Hang on. I have one more announcement. Well, our Trachtenberg lecture is going to be this Sunday on Zoom at 11 a.m. And I thought, who better to tell you about the lecture than the lecturer herself? So we are going to get a little preview of the lecture from Professor Nancy Sinkoff of Rutgers University.
glorious, tantalizing excerpt of Wilhelm Friedemann Bach's Fantasy in D minor for solo keyboard was likely played by Sarah Levy, the fifth daughter of the Berlin court Jewish family, the Itziks. Levy was born in 1761, just as the city was becoming a center of the Prussian Enlightenment. Benefiting from imperial patronage and economic development under Frederick the Great, the arts and sciences grew among the city's cultural elite, which included French and German Protestants, Catholics, as well as Jews. This dynamic cosmopolitan environment proved fateful for Jewish history. The Itzik family adopted the mores, social practices, and values of the surrounding culture, building an extraordinary home and an equally exceptional art and music collection. An accomplished harpsichordist who enjoyed a particularly close relationship with the Bach family, Sarah Levy was also a salon hostess who created spaces for Christian-Jewish interaction through music, a testament to the ways in which her gender was an asset in the process of modernizing Jewish life. Yet Sarah Levy's world was not all tolerant interfaith cultural exchange. An undercurrent of long-standing anti-Jewish bias permeated elite Berlin society. And newer scholarship has disclosed the problematic, even anti-Semitic elements in Bach's own Lutheran ideals. Please join me, Nancy Sinkoff, on Sunday, October 10th, to explore more fully the themes of Enlightenment, Jewish modernization and gender, musical anti-Semitism, and the role of the court Jews in modern European Jewish history in my lecture, How Enlightened Was Enlightenment Berlin? These themes are also at the root of Lauren Belford's award-winning book, And After the Fire, which your Kahal is reading this year. See you soon.
Our closing song this evening is found in the Siddur on page 648. Page 648, we conclude our worship by singing Shir Hadash. We have just about reached the end of our service. If you've been watching us on live stream, I hope that you will once again put a Shabbat greeting into the chat or comment section of the live stream platform before we finish. And for those of us here in the sanctuary, we now conclude our worship by turning to one another and saying, Shabbat Shalom.